remain standing for a moment of silence. Thank you. Is that your- I have before me certification from the clerk that this meeting is in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Beasley, absent. Freeholder Bobadilla.
Here.
Freeholder Clark. Here. Freeholder Gill.
Here.
Freeholder Johnson.
Present.
Freeholder Luciano, absent. Freeholder Owens, absent. Freeholder Vice President Sebo.
Here.
Freeholder President Watson.
Present. Okay, Madam Clerk, are there any transcripts to be approved?
Madam President, there are none.
Okay, let's move to the public comment session on agenda items. If there's any member of the public who would like to speak on or comment on agenda items, please come to the microphone, state your name, affiliation, and you have 3 minutes to speak. Okay, Madam Clerk, there's no one wishing to speak at this time. Okay, do we have any member of the public who would like to speak on any item? Please come to the microphone, state your name and affiliation, and you have 3 minutes to speak.
Thank you. Test, test, test. Is it on? Can you guys hear me? Okay, my name is Doug Cundy. I'm here from Milburn, New Jersey, obviously a town in Essex County, and my subject is Common Core, which is the new curriculum being mandated by the state, which I and a bunch of people in Milburn strongly object to. The New Jersey legislature has introduced Senate and Assembly Bills S-2973 and A-4197 calling for further investigation of the Common Core state standards. Resolutions expressing concerns about Common Core have either been passed or proposed to county freeholders in at least 7 of the 21 counties in New Jersey. Bergen County Board of Chosen Freeholders opposes the Common Core initiative, asks Congress and the administration to withdraw support and discontinue funding the Common Core Standards Initiative. The Morris County Board of Freeholders passed a resolution which said that they would support S-2973 and A-4197 and oppose Common Core, and ask Congress and the administration to withdraw support and discontinue funding Common Core. Warren, Hunterton, and Cape May boards of freeholders have passed similar resolutions. Specifically, Warren County freeholders unanimously passed a resolution opposing Common Core education standards and testing, citing questionable practices and a lack of local control. In Essex County, the Bloomfield Board of Education introduced a resolution opposing the essence of Common Core standards in April of 2013. I'm going to start reading the Bergen County resolution, which was passed in August of 2013. Whereas parents and the general citizenry of Bergen County are basically unfamiliar with the vague and misleading terms Common Core State Standards and Initiative Partnership for the Assessment of Readiness for College and Career, aka Common Core PARC, particularly since such standards and assessments were never approved by nor opinions sought from state legislatures, local boards of education, parents, or taxpayers, nor the assessments written prior to adoption by the New Jersey Department of Education and the New Jersey State Board of Education. Whereas neither the source nor the application of specific actual costs to implement Common Core in the short and long term are not fully known. Whereas no public statewide meetings have been held in city, suburban, or rural districts to seek input about Common Core PARC from parents, teachers, boards of education, nor taxpayers.
Excuse me, when you try to sum up, you have 30 seconds.
My summary is that the federal government is trying to take over the education revenues of our local towns, and it's against the United States Constitution that they do this. I'm heavily opposed to it, and I'm lighting a fire in Milburn, and you're going to hear more from me and from Milburn on this situation.
Very good.
Thank
Would
you.
you like to leave a copy of that resolution?
I sure will.
Okay. Gary? Thank you. And we normally don't respond to residents while they're at the mic, but we certainly will respond to you in writing, and we would take your request in consideration.
Thank you very much. I could speak at the second. Can I speak at the second? Follow-up?
Yes, you can.
I will still be here. Thank
Very
you.
good. Okay. Madam Clerk, do we have anyone else wishing to speak at this time? Please state your name and affiliation for the record.
Hi, my name is John Suarez. I'm Director of Operations for Ironbound Soccer Club, a youth soccer club based in the Ironbound in Newark. We service approximately 1,000 children from the ages of 4 to 20 years old. On behalf of our club, I wanted to thank the freeholders. I wanted to thank the Parks Department and the administration. We just held our annual spring warm-up, and we used 16 facilities in the greater Essex area, including colleges, high schools, but also used 7 of the county parks that have turf soccer fields. And we had 153 teams come in from 6 different states to participate in our tournament. And they all gave us great reviews on the fields, especially on the Essex County parks. And I just wanted to bring that back to the freeholders and the Parks Department and the administration of the great facilities that we have. And if you have more Green Acres money, please keep using it for the parks, and we can always use more soccer fields. But just wanted to say thank you. Also for the Parks Department, for the Director, Dan Salvanti, Frank Maria, and the Permits Department. They did a great job in helping us get the tournament in place. So I just wanted to say thank you.
And thank you so much for coming, and certainly we will respond to you in writing. It's just good to have residents recognize when the county is trying to do their best to provide the services for the residents.
And the facilities attracts more teams to come out, so we're very grateful.
Thank you so much. Okay, Madam Clerk, are there any topics of discussion?
Madam President, there are none.
Okay, Madam Clerk, let's move to the public hearing on Resolution R-2014-00160. Please read it.
Resolution number R-2014-00160, Department of Administration and Finance, Office of Management and Budget Resolution to exceed the county tax levy and to establish a cap bank for calendar year 2014 per N.J.SA 40A:4-45.14.
Okay, I hereby declare the public hearings on Resolution R-2014-00160 open. If there's any member of the public who would like to comment for or against this ordinance, please come forward, state your name for the record and affiliation for the record. And you'll have 3 minutes to speak. Okay, there's no member of the public wishing to speak on this ordinance. Mr. Polyvecchio, do you have any questions or comments?
No, I'm good. I'll defer to Mr. McInerney on these.
Okay, Mr. McInerney, questions, comments?
No, I believe we discussed this at prior meetings and went through it, thoroughly.
Okay. Freeholders, do you have any questions or comments? Okay, freeholders, do I have a motion and a second to close the public hearing on Resolution R-2014-00160?
I'll move it.
Moved by Freeholder Vice President Sebo and second by Freeholder Bobadilla. Do I have the same mover and second to
Yes.
approve the resolution? Okay, freeholders, they have confirmed, Madam Clerk, to move and second the motion to approve the resolution. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Beasley, absent. Freeholder Bobadilla.
Yes.
Freeholder Clark.
Yes.
Freeholder Gill.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano, absent. Freeholder Owens, absent. Freeholder Vice President Sebo.
Yes.
Freeholder President Watson.
Yes.
So moved.
Okay, for the viewing audience and for those sitting in the chambers, this is our regular board meeting, so we'll be voting all the items that you will hear us request action on tonight. We've already discussed these resolutions, and this is really our regular board meeting for action. So we'll continue, Madam Clerk. Let's go to Resolution 36. We'll move a little out of sequence.
Okay. Resolution 36, Resolution authorizing the 2014 budget to be read by title only pursuant to NJSA 40A:4-8.
Okay, Mr. Polyvecchio, please explain the resolution.
Yes, state statute requires that, for the benefit of really the clerk and the viewing audience, that the budget can be read by title only at the time of a public hearing, but it does require the formality of a resolution be passed by the board, by a majority of the board, before we can do that. All the prerequisites have been met. The complete copy of the approved budget, which was approved at a prior meeting, was made available for public inspection at the public libraries in the various communities in Essex County, and has been on file here at the Hall of Records. So if the board wants to approve this, that would allow us to read the budget by title only.
Very good. Freeholders, do I have a motion and a second based on the explanation given to us by Mr. Polyvecchio?
I'll move it.
Moved by Freeholder Vice President Sebo. Do I have a second? Second by Freeholder Bobadilla. Question, comments, freeholders? No questions, no comments. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Beasley, absent. Freeholder Bobadilla.
Yes.
Freeholder Clark.
Yes.
Freeholder Gill.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano, absent. Freeholder Owens, absent. Freeholder Vice President Sebo.
Yes.
Freeholder President Watson.
Yes.
So moved.
Okay, now let's move back to the public hearing on Resolution R2014-00161, which is the 2014 introduced Essex County budget. Madam Clerk, please read it by title based on the motion that we just made.
Okay, public hearing on resolution number R-2014-00161, 2014, introduce Essex County budget.
Okay, let's now move back to the public hearing on Resolution R2014-161. We did that, I'm sorry. So I hereby declare the public hearing on Resolution R-2014-00161. The 2014 introduced Essex County budget is open. If there is any member of the public who would like to comment for or against this resolution, please come to the microphone, state your name, affiliation, and you have 3 minutes to speak. Okay, no what members of the public wishing to speak, Madam Clerk. Mr. Polyvecchio, do you have any questions or comments?
No, other than to state for the record that this budget was the subject of a number of public budget hearings that the board attended. This was on for approval a few weeks ago in February, and it's in that same form now as it's here for public hearing and final adoption.
Okay, Mr. McInerney, you have any questions or comments?
I think when we did the introduction, we went through the process that the Board of Freeholders went through with regard to our budget hearings, and with also regard to the impact that the budget has on the county. It increases by 1.65% this year. We only anticipate using $4 million of the surplus for this budget. We ended the year with a $48.3 million fund balance, a surplus that we're carrying on our annual financial statement. So I think all has been said, you know, with regard to the budget and the process, and now the question is put to the board to adopt.
Okay, freeholders. Yes, Freeholder Clark.
I too thought that everything had been vetted as far as the budget was concerned, but there's something that is a concern for me, and I don't know how the administration plans to deal with it, but it really is something that needs to be dealt with, because contained within this budget, and when we had budget hearings, it wasn't as clearly delineated or discussed. And so therefore, it was easy for it to have been missed. But it's the school at the Juvenile Detention Center. And we had a press conference that talked about all of the wonderful things that are occurring there. We talked about how the school, how the Juvenile Detention Center had gotten past the consent decree, and that it was, operating well. We talked about the fact that the school there had been a real plus. And then I just learned that the school was cut $75,000. Now, I'm just curious as to whether or not, Madam President, you or Madam Vice President, if leadership knew this, because I'm just finding it out.
Okay, let's-
And if the school was cut $75,000, why? Because we can't say one thing and then do another. We can't have press conferences that say one thing, but then we're not funding them the way they need to be funded to do all of the things that they need to do. Now, as a result of that cut, they're going to have to cut services. Is that what we want?
Let's hear from the administration, because that did not come up in the leadership. So I'm sure Mr. Shiala will be able to answer your question, and I don't know if the information that was given to you, we'll let him answer if that information is correct.
Through you, Madam President, I believe this contract for the Essex Regional is on for your next freeholder meeting.
It is.
And yes, there is a cut to the dollar amount that they will be receiving for the 14-15 calendar year.
That came up.
No, the services are not being cut. The full day, in fact, the extended day continues. The primary reason for the cut, to my understanding, is I know as of today we had 79 Essex juveniles in the detention and 30 Passaic County. So our census is only 109. It's a low count to begin with. Besides October 15th, we all recognize in the field of education is the day when they count bodies in the seat. So if on the day before you had twice the enrollment, it doesn't matter. It's on that day. What your enrollment is what is the funding stream. So we made sure that whatever the funding stream is going to be, in spite of the low enrollments at the detention center, which is a good thing, that we will still run a full-day program at the detention center, and that will be continued.
I have to say, I do recall that coming up in leadership, I'm sorry. And I think that was a question I didn't know it was a cut, but we questioned the contract that was coming before the board. I don't recall us talking about a cut to the extent that Freeholder Clark, maybe we did. But let me ask the question. Yeah, I remember you mentioning that.
I believe it's, and I'm off the top of my head, it's about a $75,000 cut. So I think it might be about $1.2 million, I think, would be their contract, which is to the administrators and our people that run the facility and are very familiar with the fine job that the commission does, believe that there will be no effects in the classroom and the programs that are provided for the young men and women at the detention center. They believe that that full day will continue and none of the curriculum will be cut out of that program.
So, Ralph, just for my information, if we're cutting 75%, what are we cutting?
No,
We're
not
cutting-
75%.
I'm
75,000.
sorry, 75,000. What are we cutting? We cutting hours that what are we cutting to show us where that $75,000 cut was
What
made?
I can do is, since it's on the agenda for next week, we will make sure Dr. Young is here and our people are here from the detention center. And prior to that, we'll provide for you what that count was on October 15th and how that funding formula works for everyone. So you'll have an opportunity to view that before next week's conference meeting, if that helps.
Mr. McInerney, let me ask a question. The budget that we're voting on, would that $75,000 make that much of a difference in approving this budget?
No.
Okay. Freeholder Clark.
Could you explain that a little bit more, Mr. McInerney? You said that $75,000 is not included in this budget?
No, the question was whether I felt that it made a material impact on the budget, and the answer to that is no.
Right, but here's, it's $75,000. In other words, that $75,000 is not included in this budget.
I would assume it was cut. It's not in the budget.
Prior to,
It's-
But I can't tell you that for sure. I don't know when that took place in terms of, and wasn't aware that it took place. So I can't tell you distinctly whether or not the contract was put in for the original amount or whether or not it was reduced. What the question was, though, was whether or not it has a material impact on the budget itself, being given the fact that it's up for adoption. And I'm not questioning the seriousness of your question with regard to the program. My response is strictly related to the budget overall.
Understood, understood. I guess I am acutely and keenly aware, as are all of the educators, about the October 15th count, because that's what's going to determine your funding, and whether the number of students goes up appreciably or goes down appreciably, your baseline funding amount per your funding from the State Board of Ed and the State Department of Education, that's how you're going to get your dollars, notwithstanding if, whatever your levy is in your respective communities to round it out. The dollars, Mr. Chilella, I believe, come, well, they don't come necessarily they don't get extracted necessarily from the district. The dollars, or are they extracted from the district? Are the dollars following the student, or are they coming directly to the commission? Because they're not coming to the county, or are they?
Through you, Madam President, like I had mentioned earlier, I'm really not prepared to speak on that particular item, so we will prepare all of that documentation for the board so that you can review in terms of the funding streams. If there's multiple funding streams, how do they come to us? And it's based on what formula. And so that's the best I can answer this evening.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason I'm saying the stuff that I'm saying is, those of you who know me know that I used to work there. So I'm aware, and I was there when that program came to Essex County, when it first came to Essex County. And shortly thereafter, then I became a freeholder. So I had an opportunity to watch it, see how it progressed, see where the funding streams came, see how we funded it in the past and how we didn't fund it. And also to understand that while we can say that a full day is going to be provided and the like, it is going to have a deleterious effect on the part of the agency that is still trying to provide quality services to the county in terms of that particular contract. Because at the end of the day, there are bodies attached to the dollars to make sure that certain things get done for the students. And if, because of the cut, there's going to be one less person or 1.5 less people, or 2 less people to do it, I mean, is that what we really, really want? And if we're passing a budget that doesn't include the $75,000, even if we wanted to reinstate some dollars, where would we get it from? So that's why I'm saying, do we really, I mean, I know where we could get it from, because we just voted on a cap bank to exceed. So, I mean, technically speaking, we could get it from there. But I don't think that's not how you're working. That's not how you're operating and how it's budgeting. So, I'm concerned. I'm concerned that there's a strain that could be placed on an agency that really wants to provide the county with a decent service, and that's being really put under the gun now to try to make something, to make up a shortfall, and still be true to educating folks and doing what it is that they have to do under an already difficult set of circumstances. I just have to be, I got to be straight up with you on that. I have a problem with that. I have a problem with us passing a budget, knowing that we don't have that money in it, and knowing that we're asking people to fulfill a contract responsibility, and tell them, okay, you face a shortfall, you figure it out, but I still want my full day, I still want the same services, I still want whatever.
Okay, let me hear from Mr. Polyvecchio, and then we'll...
Just a question, and Mr. Chilella, I understand you're not prepared to talk about that contract that's on next week, but it's for the contract that is on for next week. Was that let by RFP or bid, or how was that contract let? Do you know?
Through you, Madam President, I believe that since it's a quasi-government entity, they were selected through the same process as in years past. There was no RFP or bid for any other entity to provide that service.
Okay.
Because we all recognize it's a limited area with not that many, I don't want to use the word qualified, but entities that are willing to work in a juvenile detention center. It is a unique contract, I would say.
Okay.
Mr. McInerney, do you have any questions? No? Let me go back to Freeholder, Vice President Siebel, Freeholder Clark, and then I'll come back to you. Freeholder Vice President.
If I remember correctly, when we discussed this at the leadership meeting, didn't this item have to do with the fact that the numbers of students... I'll have to wait.
So just for a few minutes, you can come.
My question is to the county
The
administrator.
county administrator.
I'm sorry.
There's a question from Freeholder Vice President.
When we discussed
Siebel.
this item at the leadership meeting,
Yes.
and I have it right in front of me here, wasn't that, if I remember correctly, but I may not be remembering correctly, wasn't that number down because of the number of
That's what I think
actual
your
students?
Question.
Because the numbers at the detention center are down?
Well, the number on the count day was definitely down. The last few months, our numbers are down. I think a lot of our young men and women are in more of the alternative programs. As you know, that facility can accommodate up to just under 300, 280 something. So we're well below capacity in terms of what we can provide. But Passaic County, 30, I think when we signed the contract, it was for about 50 to 75 youth, if I'm not mistaken. So it's a big drop there. 79 youth from Essex County is a low number. So does that translate into one less teacher for one less class? I don't know. Those are the questions that I will go back to our people, but I can assure the board that this administration and our finance people did not slash out $75,000 from the budget. This was what the using agency provided back to the administration as part of their budget that they needed to operate the facility. Whether they, I believe they did their due diligence to say that, is this enough to run the program? But those are the answers I need to go back and provide this board with.
That's the feeling that I got at the leadership meeting, that you were clear in terms of the fact that the proper education could continue even with this cut in the money. And a lot had to do just with the numbers, and there didn't seem to be a problem when we were discussing this.
That's what I was presented with, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Freeholder Clark.
And I believe that you're correct, both you, Madam Vice President, and you, Mr. Chilella. I think both of you are correct. I do believe that the agency is going to provide you with quality service, the same level of quality service that they've provided you with for years. Mr. Palavecchio, it is a very unique contract, and there are precious few people on the planet that want to undertake that kind of an educational endeavor. Very few want to do it. As a matter of fact, just to put it in historical context, the county of Essex used to try to do it and chose not to do it anymore because it was way too difficult to do. It takes a special set of expertise and something that the commission has developed over time. And they do that with a lot of different specialty populations. And if you, to use a term that I don't want it to sound pejorative, but difficult to serve entities, populations. So I don't have any, I believe that they're definitely going to do what it is that they say they're going to do, but you need to know that it is putting a strain on them. And I understand that when you don't get the numbers that you thought you were going to get, and it doesn't matter whether it's the detention center or whether it's the jail. It could be ICE. It could be anything. If you've already plugged in X amount and it's not there, then, everybody's kind of like has to share in the reduction. And so how it was arrived at, we'll figure that out, but I just need you to know that the folks are going to soldier through, but it's going to be a little pinch, okay? So please know that, and please know to the members of the board that the budget that you're passing doesn't include it.
Okay, just let me ask just one question. The budget that we are passing, the $75,000 that the administration removed from that particular contract, when we discussed the budget, was that $75,000 in the budget?
I couldn't tell you
You
that,
couldn't
Madam
tell me,
President.
okay. All right, since we can't get the answer, then we can move on. I just need to know, was that $75,000 in the budget that we discussed in detail in the sessions?
I'd have to go back and look, Madam President. I wouldn't
Okay.
recall
You
each
wouldn't
individual
recall that,
contract that's
because
in that
there's a lot of
budget.
money that we move around, okay. All right. Okay, freeholders.
Madam President, if I might, it's definitely something that we can look into, and, this budget is an estimate. There will be
It is.
contracts that change.
Yes.
There will be amounts that change. If there's any reason why that amount would have to increase, there's not an impossibility that can happen if, with with transfers and things of that nature. So all I'm saying is that I cannot give you definitive information on whether the 75 is in or whether it's out. What I'm saying to you is the freeholder is raising an issue. It's a valid issue, but at this point in time, with regard to the adoption of the budget, it's not necessarily something that should hold up the adoption of over a $700 million budget.
Absolutely. Mr. Acker, will you state your name for the record, please?
Mark Acker, I'm the Director of Department of Administration and Finance. I can answer the question as to
Very
the
good.
75,000, whether it was removed after your budget hearings, if it was not.
Very good.
The
That's all I
Saturday
need.
budget hearings that the freeholders conducted, there was no money removed from that particular budget line item after that hearing.
That's all I need to hear. Thank you. Okay, Freeholder, so you did hear Mr. Acker. I think he answered Freeholder Clark's question, and I think we cleared the air on that. Freeholder, do I have a motion and a second to close the public hearing on resolution R-2014-00161? Did
May I just say something before I move that close
Yes,
it?
Freeholder Vice
I do
President.
move that we close it, but before I do, I would just like to commend our budget consultant for being with us for those 2 long Saturdays and giving us such good advice as we went along, item by item. And I know I have said this before, but I'd like to commend you for your valuable work that you do for this Freeholder Board.
Thank you very much, Freeholder.
Very good.
And I do move it.
Very good. Moved by Freeholder Vice President Sebo. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Freeholder Gill. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Beasley, absent. Freeholder Bobadilla. Yes. Freeholder Clark.
Yes.
Freeholder Gill.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano, absent. Freeholder Owens, absent. Freeholder Vice President Sebo.
Yes.
Freeholder President Watson.
Yes.
So moved.
Okay, Madam Clerk, please read the resolution by title.
Okay. Be it resolved that the Board of Chosen Freeholders of the County of Essex, that the budget herein before set forth is hereby adopted and shall constitute an appropriation for the purposes stated of the sums therein set forth as appropriations and authorization of the amount of $405,146,000 for the county to be raised by taxation and certification to the County Board of Taxation of the following summary of general revenues and appropriations.
Okay, Freeholders, do I have a motion second to adopt Resolution R-2014-00161, the 2014 introduced Essex County budget?
I'll move it.
Moved by Vice President Sebo. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Freeholder Bobadilla. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Beasley, absent. Freeholder Bobadilla.
Yes.
Freeholder Clark.
Yes.
Freeholder Gill.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano, absent. Freeholder Owens, absent. Freeholder Vice President Sebo.
Yes.
Freeholder President Watson.
Yes.
So moved.
Okay, just for the viewing audience and for those that are sitting in the chambers, just let me just mention so that you'll know that this budget was just not adopted. We didn't just come in and just ran over the budget. We spent 2 full 8-hour, 7-8-hour Saturdays and went through every budget line item, made our comments, and made the slight adjustments that we needed to make. So this board, adopting this budget, they just not do it off the top of their head. We had a lot of discussion on the budget and a lot of meeting with department heads to make sure that they could live within the budget. And I'm proud to say that we stay within the guidelines of the state for any tax increases. So with that, just let me thank Mr. McInerney and Mr. Acker. The two of you worked very hard, and we appreciate that you work together from the freeholder side, legislative side, and then from the administrative side to make sure we get a decent budget and the explanations that we, the questions that we ask, we always receive the explanations that was needed in order for us to be where we are today in order to adopt this budget. And I'm proud to say that this budget was handled on time. The administration presented it to us on time. We vetted the budget. We did all of our due diligence, and now it will go to the state. And hopefully, we can be proud to say we introduced our budget, passed the budget, and did it on time according to state statute. So again, thank you. And I don't want to leave our county administrator out. You're the best, too.
Thank you, Madam President.
Okay, let's move on, Madam Clerk. Let's move to public hearing on ordinance O-2014-0002. Please read it.
Ordinance number O-2014-00002, salary ordinance, clerk of the board of chosen freeholders.
I hereby declare the public hearing on ordinance number O-2014-00002 open. If there's any member of the public who would like to comment for or against this ordinance, please come to the microphone, state your name and affiliation, and you have 3 minutes to speak. Okay, Madam Clerk, let the record show that there's no one from the public that wishes to speak on this ordinance. Mr. Polyvecchio, do you have any questions?
No,
Comments?
the board has discussed this ordinance a number of times. It's a salary ordinance setting the range for the clerk of the board.
Okay, Mr. McInerney, any questions, comments?
None.
Okay, freeholders, do you have any questions or comments? None? Okay, do I have a motion and second to close the public hearing on ordinance number O-2014-00002?
I'll move it.
Moved by Freeholder Vice President Sebo, second by Freeholder Bobadilla. Do I have the same mover and second to approve the
Yes.
ordinance? Very good. No further discussion on the ordinance for approval. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Freeholder Beasley, absent Freeholder Bobadilla.
Yes.
Freeholder Clark.
Yes.
Freeholder Gill.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano. Absent Freeholder Owens, absent Freeholder Vice President Sebo.
Yes.
Freeholder President Watson.
Yes.
So moved.
Okay, Madam Clerk, let's move to the introduction of ordinance number 1. Please read it.
Introduction of ordinance number 1, bond ordinance providing for the improvement of Essex County College in and by the County of Essex, New Jersey, appropriating $2,005,000, therefore authorizing the issue of $1,250,000 bond or notes of the county and $1,250,000 bond or notes of the county entitled to the benefit of Chapter 12, the laws of New Jersey of 1971 for financing such appropriation.
Okay, Mr. Chiala?
Yes, Madam President. This is actually the capital ordinance for the college. This is actually out of our 2013 capital. The breakdown for the $2.5 million is as such. $660,000 for waterproofing of the exterior masonry walls, $1,515,000 for classroom and laboratory renovations, and $325,000 for electronic messaging and a directional signage.
Okay, Freeholders, do I have a motion and a second?
I'll move.
Moved by Freeholder Johnson. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Freeholder Bobadilla. Mr. McInerney, you have any questions or comments?
Yes, I do. Ralph, when you mentioned laboratory renovations, it came to mind that at one point in time, wasn't there a very aggressive program to redo the laboratories, and is this part of that?
Through you, Madam President, what I will provide for the board is there had been extensive renovations throughout the facility, so what we will do is provide what those repairs were. I'm not sure if this was a phase of the whole laboratory renovation project, but we'll provide you with that scope for next meeting.
Thank you.
Okay, Freeholders, additional questions, comments? None? Roll call, Madam Clerk?
Freeholder Beasley, absent Freeholder Bobadilla.
Yes.
Freeholder Clark.
Yes.
Freeholder Gill.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano, absent Freeholder Owens, absent Freeholder Vice President Sebo.
Yes.
Freeholder President Watson.
Yes.
So moved.
Okay, let's move to Resolution 1 and 2, and Madam Clerk, we'll read that into the record at a later time. Excuse me. Freeholders, do I have a motion and second to take Resolutions 1 and 2 together? Freeholder Bobadilla moved it. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Freeholder Gill. Question, comments, freeholders? No questions, no comments. Roll call, Madam Clerk?
Freeholder Beasley, absent Freeholder Bobadilla.
Yes.
Freeholder Clark.
Yes.
Freeholder Gill.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano, absent. Freeholder Owens, absent. Freeholder Vice President Sebo.
Yes.
Freeholder President Watson.
Yes.
So moved.
Okay, we take Resolution 3. You can read that.
Resolution 3, Department of Health and Rehabilitation Division of Community Health Services Uniform Shared Service Agreement with the Township of Nutley for the provision of hazard emergency response services July 1st, 2013 through June 30th, 2014, amount not to exceed $150,000.
Okay, freeholders, do I have a motion and second? And we on Resolution 3. Freeholder Gill moved it. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Moved by Freeholder Johnson. Discussion, additional discussion, comments, freeholders? Roll call, Madam Clerk?
Freeholder Beasley, absent. Freeholder Bobadilla.
Yes.
Freeholder Clark.
Yes.
Freeholder Gill.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano, absent. Freeholder Owens, absent. Freeholder Vice President Sebo.
Yes.
Freeholder President Watson.
Yes.
So moved.
Okay, let's take Resolution 5, 6, 7, and 8, and we'll read them into the record at a later time. And then we'll come back to 9. Is that, wait a minute, let me make sure. Yeah, we can do that, right? Okay. We're going to take 5, 6, 7, and 8, and we'll read it at a later time. Freeholders, do I have a motion and a second?
I'll move it.
Moved by Freeholder Vice President Sebo. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Freeholder Bobadilla. Discussion on 5, 6, 7, and 8. No further discussion. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Beasley, absent. Freeholder Bobadilla.
Yes.
Freeholder Clark.
Yes.
Freeholder Gill.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano, absent. Freeholder Owens, absent. Freeholder Vice President Sebo.
Yes.
Freeholder President Watson.
Yes.
So moved.
Let's take Resolution 9. Mr. Sheller, did we say that Sugar would be here?
Yes, we did,
Tonight.
Madam President, and we do have a representative from Sugar in the audience with us this evening, Clarence.
Okay, very good. You want to, I'll tell you what, Madam Clerk, we'll read that. Yeah, you can read that because we're going to take that one by itself.
Resolution number 9, Department of Public Works, Division of Engineering, contract award to Sugar Property Services, the lowest responsive and responsible bidder for landscape improvement at the Orange Reservoir, 30-day contract, amount not to exceed $197,950.
Okay, Ralph, you want to call him up to the mic? Want to call the representative from Sugar up to the mic?
Yes.
Okay. I think we're familiar with the company. It's just that we need to have you to come before us to give us some idea on the scope of the work that you will be doing for the dollar amount that we're expecting to approve.
Everyone, my name is Clarence Nathaniel Skynes III. I'm here to represent the Shelter Group and Shelter Property Services. We've done multiple projects up at South Mountain as well as Turtleback Zoo. This project in particular is a large-scale landscaping improvement. To that area, we're also going to be adding some irrigation work. We're going to be doing some veneer to an existing wall, as well as colored concrete sealant that's going to be applied to some areas of the miniature golf course that already exists.
Okay, will you just repeat your name for the record again?
Clarence Nathaniel Sconyers III.
Okay. Nathaniel Scott?
Sconyers.
Scommers, okay.
Yes.
Very good. Okay, freeholders, while we have Mr. Scommers at the mic, do we have any questions? No. Normally whenever a contract is over $100,000, we have to have the representative from the company that bidded on the job to come before the board, so in case there's additional questions, we'll be able to ask the questions. So thank you for coming this evening. The Freeholders, no further questions on the scope of work. Let me ask this one question. When did you expect to start, and how soon will the time?
To proceed, usually we are given 60 days or so, roughly, as stated in the bid documents. Within that time, that will be provided to us, and we will meet the project's time of completion.
Okay. Do you have an idea how long the completion date would take once we approve it?
Weather permitting, I believe we will be able to meet what's stated in the spec.
Okay, and how much?
Through Madam President, it's a 30-day completion schedule.
30 days?
Yes.
That's great. Okay. Additional questions, Freeholders? Okay, thank you again, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, Freeholders, do I have a motion? Okay. Do I have I need a motion and a second. Moved by Freeholder Vice President Sebo. Do I have a second? Second by Freeholder Bobadilla. No further question, comments, Freeholders, roll call.
Freeholder Beasley, absent. Freeholder Bobadilla.
Yes.
Freeholder Clark.
Yes.
Freeholder Gill.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano, absent. Freeholder Owens, absent. Freeholder Vice President Sebo.
Yes.
Freeholder President Watson.
Yes.
So moved.
Okay, let's take 10 through 13. And Madam Clerk, we'll read it into the record at a later time. And Freeholders, do I have a motion and second to take Resolution 10 through 13? Moved by Freeholder Vice President Sebo. Do I have a second? Do I have a second? Second by Freeholder Bobadilla. And we're voting on Freeholders' Resolution 10 through 13. All basically from the Department of Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Affairs. No, 13 is Public Works. Okay, no further questions? Freeholders, question on 10? Go that way. Thank you, Freeholder Gill. Your question is on Resolution 10?
My question is in the aggregate, it's to Mr. Chihuahua. We had an opportunity to chat. I know that it was something that occurred yesterday, and I was wondering what the outcome of that was as it relates to...
Just let me, for the record, there's Freeholder Clark that's speaking. I think I called on Freeholder Gill. But
I'm sorry.
No, I'll let you continue, and then I'll come back to Freeholder Gill. I just wanted to make sure I have the record straight.
Okay.
Okay, continue.
Yeah, no, I just needed an update before I vote, because there was a question that I had last week relative to this, and I indicated that I would wait until I heard back from Mr. Chihuahua before anything.
Mr. Shelley, you want to respond to Freeholder Clark?
Yes, Madam President. I think we also responded in writing to the clerk, and I believe this is in reference to Wasseston Park, the lighting plan.
Oh, okay, we got one in...
It's in your package. It should be in your
The
package.
lighting plan, as I mentioned last meeting, many of the lighting plans are done in phases. That one was scheduled for a two-phase project, and part of the reason why it was especially done in two phases is some of the areas where the lighting will be in a I don't want to say wetlands, but there is a delineation, which is a little different design than if you just run conduit in a normal section. They are under design right now for the East Orange portion of lighting. That particular project is being done in-house. The design and layout for that portion of the park. So as soon as they are to complete their information, we'll be ready to, I guess, move that on a bid and an award.
Thank you for that update, Mr. Chihuahua. What I had hoped that I would be able to hear, and I think you and I kind of know what it was that I had hoped that I would hear, which is something more definitive than what I just heard.
So that's 10.
That doesn't give me a lot of comfort, because it doesn't, it just says that I'm working on it, basically. And I believe you when you say that it's being worked on. But something can be being worked on for a year, 2 years, before it comes to completion or before it comes to fruition. I had hoped that I would hear that it's being worked on and it's going to come to fruition before December 31st of 2014, because it was something that I had hoped that I would see come to completion before I left the board. Apparently it doesn't sound to me like that might happen. And I didn't understand why we weren't in the discussion in the first place. Quite frankly, I just didn't understand it, because to me it would have been more cost effective to get it done. You might have been able to even get a better, I don't know what kind of price you might have gotten or might not have gotten, but just a cursory glance does not, because the portion of land that we're talking about, the actual size, is so much smaller than the other tracts of land that the lighting is going to go on. I can't imagine that it would have been more than another 5 or 6 lights, really, when you think about it, in terms of where they're strategically placed right now. You know, give or take 10 max, but I'm looking at 6. And I just didn't understand for the life of me why those 6 weren't included in the first place. Because what it does is it gives the appearance of it gives the appearance of a different preferential treatment, or differential, I won't say preferential, differential treatment from one area to the other. And when you look at it, I understood it when you were talking about Branch Brook Park because of the enormity of that park. And because you couldn't possibly do things except to do it in sections. But when you look at that particular park and the way that it's set up, a little different than Brookdale, that has kind of 2 sections as well, or entrance ways, but that park is distinctly separated by a major thoroughfare. Well, not major, but a thoroughfare. You know, so it's distinctly set apart. You could almost mistake it for two separate entities if you didn't know that it was all one. And it gives the impression that it's actually being treated as 2 separate entities. One entity being a priority, and the other is a when I get to it. And so I don't want to vote on something where I kind of feel as though it's an afterthought or it's a when I get to it kind of thing. And I'm not suggesting that members of the board do anything other than what they feel is in their best interest, however, or in the best interest of the project. I'm not suggesting that the project not go forward. I think it's a good project, and it's a necessary project. And I think that the project was really well conceived and well thought out. I think that whoever did the project really miscalculated the fact that anybody would even care that one section of that park was left out. Because it's rare that the point is raised. When I raised the points in the past, I was always told that it would be in another phase. When we first started talking about the field houses getting done, that section had to wait for another phase. When we first started talking about the resurfacing of the basketball courts and the like, that section of the park had to wait for another phase. When we talked about the repair of the fence, because it was damaged via accident and other things, that portion, because both sections had damaged fencing, that section had to wait for another phase. And now, tonight, we're being told again that that section of the park has to wait for another phase. I just don't think that, that's just my opinion. I understand that, and I believe that, you know, it's, let's put it this way. I don't want to believe that it's intentional. I want to say that it's just the way that things fall. But I am also saying that at some point in time, and I'm also grateful, by the way, and I think I said this before, I certainly said it to Sanjean, I said it to the county executive, I'm grateful for the little improvement that you made on that culvert, bridge culvert, to ensure that the children that come from that school or that go to that museum, you know, don't have a hazard. So I'm actually grateful for that. But I'm very disappointed. I'm not going to mince words. I'm extremely disappointed that yet again, that section is told that you have to wait for another phase. And so as a result of that, I will either abstain or vote no on this. It's just a principled vote, Madam President. It has nothing to do with whether I feel that the project is a good project or not. Because quite frankly, Mr. Chilella, I do think it's a good project and I think it's a necessary project. But I don't think that one section should always have to wait for another phase before they're considered for improvements.
Okay. Mr. Shelley, do you want to just comment briefly on Freeholder Clark's comments and then kind of give the board an idea, when do we expect the second phase to start?
Again, I mean, the only thing I could say is that, you know, all of these projects are laid out. There is no distinction as to geographic location of parks. This is done in-house, this project, and most of our lighting projects are. And I'm not an engineer, so I don't know why lighting projects are done in phases. So I really can't answer why those projects are done in phases, but if you look at the majority of our lighting projects, they're all done in phases. And so I really don't have an answer as to why, whether it's an additional 6 lights or 10 lights. What I was told was that the one area was extremely affected by constantly floods or gets wet, and it's a little different in terms of scope and how you write a specification, and not being an engineer and not understanding why I would want to include that in my spec. Maybe the thought is just a simple one, is that it might bring the price up, thinking that if the one portion of 8 lights are affected by wetlands, well, then maybe I better mark up my price a little bit higher because I don't know what's going to be in the other 10 lights. I don't know. I'm not the person that prepares the bid specs. But I could assure you that all projects are looked at in terms of value added to this county, and it's not based on any geographic identity at all. I could assure you that. In terms of the timeline, When we do projects in-house, our engineers are stretched, but I'm sure that if they are told that they have a certain amount of time to complete a design and to get it shovel-ready, they will do their darnest to do that. And I'm not that convinced, as the freeholder may be, that this project cannot be shoveled in the ground before the end of the year. But again, I don't have the specs, I don't have the bid out on the street, and right now, I can't predict, but I can just tell you that it's our word that it is going to be designed. It's actually in Public Works' engineer's hands right now, and it will be done.
Okay, very good. Mr. Shell, I think it would be good if the administration can sit down with the engineering department and see if we can try to move that particular one based on what they have scheduled for the remaining of the year. And I can understand Freeholder Clark wanting to see something that leaving the board at the end of the year that she can say that she was supportive of making sure that this particular project get done during her tenure. So that would be good if we can just go back to the department, since we're doing it in-house, and see if we can, this is beginning of April, we have the remaining of the year, we should be able to, even if we don't do them all, should be able to go in that park, look at the darkest area, look at the worst areas, and try to get some lighting done in that area, in that park.
Certainly.
On that side. Yeah, Freeholder Clark.
You know what, Madam President? For the 12 years that I've been here, Mr. Chilella has always been a man of his word.
Yes.
So guess what? I'm gonna take you at your word, Mr. Chilella, tonight. Okay, and I'm gonna vote for this based on you being a man of your word, and that we'll see something before December 31st.
Very
Okay,
good.
Madam President?
Very good. Okay, then let's move on. We discussing Resolution 10, 11. I'm sorry, Freeholder Gill, did you want to add your comments to Resolution 10?
I think 10,
Are you on?
11, either way, I guess I'll use Resolution 10, but just,
For all of them?
for all of them, on a much smaller issue, and the administration did respond in writing to the concerns regarding the dog park that have been raised by some of the constituents and the township administration in Bloomfield. And I see that the repairs to the latch and the gate have been repaired. The water will be turned on shortly, and the stone dust for the grounds has been ordered. And I would just ask through you, Madam President, if the administration could formally communicate that to the mayor and council, and if there's anything else, to let us know.
We will do that.
Thank you.
Okay, additional questions, freeholders? And we are voting on Resolution 10 through 13. Do we have any questions on 12, 13? No additional questions or comments? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Beasley, absent. Freeholder Bobadilla.
Yes.
Freeholder Clark.
Yes.
Freeholder Gill.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano, absent. Freeholder Owens, absent. Freeholder Vice President Sebo.
Yes.
Freeholder President Watson.
Yes. Okay, freeholders, in light of the fact that we will hold work sessions to discuss the entire Kip Castle project on Tuesday, April 1st, I would like to adjourn these two resolutions until our Wednesday, April 2nd meeting, at which time we'll vote on them. Until our Wednesday, April 2nd. The meeting is April 1st, right?
Yes.
And the Wednesday, April 2nd meeting, at which time we'll vote on them at that time. And this way, we can ask any additional questions we might have, and have a detailed discussion next Tuesday at the work session, so we'll be prepared to vote next Wednesday.
Madam President, that's Resolution 14 and 15, right?
Yes, Resolution 14 and 15. And we'll read it into the record at a later. Don't have to read it because we're not taking action on it tonight. So Freeholder, before I ask for a motion and second to adjourn the resolutions, are there any additional questions or comments you would like to ask tonight? Mr. Polyvecchio, do you have any additional questions or comments?
No, just we need a mover to adjourn it to the, what's the date, the 2nd?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, just let me ask, Mr. McInerney, do you have any additional questions or comments at this time?
I do not.
Okay, so Freeholders, I'll ask for a motion and a second to adjourn Resolution 14 and 15 until our April 2nd meeting, at which time we'll vote on them. And Freeholders, do I have a motion and a second? Motion by Freeholder Bobadilla, do I have a second?
Second.
Nope, I have these. You sure?
Second by Freeholder Clark. Roll call, Madam Clerk?
Freeholder Beasley, absent. Freeholder Bobadilla.
Yes.
Freeholder Clark.
Yes.
Freeholder Gill.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano, absent. Freeholder Owens, absent. Freeholder Vice President Sebo.
Yes.
Freeholder President Watson.
Yes.
So moved.
And again, Freeholders, that was to adjourn the Resolution 14 and 15 until April 2nd. Thank you. Okay, Freeholder, let's move to Resolution 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20, 21, 22, and 23. All these resolutions are coming from the Department of Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Affairs, and they are various phases coming from the Open Space Trust Fund. So, Madam Clerk, we'll read the resolution 16 through 23 at a later time. And Freeholders, do I have a motion?
I'll move it.
Motion moved by Freeholder Sebo that we are taking 16 through 23. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Freeholder Johnson. Question, comments, Freeholders on 16? 17? 18? 19, 20? 21? 22? 23, no further questions, comments, Freeholders, and as I stated earlier, all of these resolutions we discussed at our last meeting. Madam Clerk, do I have a move?
Yes, Madam.
Okay, I have a move in a second, right?
Yes, Madam.
Okay, no further questions or comments, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Beasley, absent. Freeholder Bobadilla.
Yes.
Freeholder Clark.
Yes.
Freeholder Gill.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano, absent. Freeholder Owens, absent. Freeholder Vice President Sebo.
Yes.
Freeholder President Watson.
Yes.
So moved.
Okay, Freeholders, let's take Resolution 24, 25, 26, and Madam Clerk, we'll read it into the record at a later time. And Madam Clerk, I'll be asking for a motion to take 24, 25, 26 together. Freeholders, do I have a motion to take 24, 25, and 26 together? Freeholder Gill moved it.
I have a question, actually. I'm sorry, Madam President.
Okay, you want to,
On
let me
20
get it on the floor first, and then we,
Sure.
thank you.
So who moved?
Freeholder Gill,
The,
do you want to move it? I have to get a mover first.
I'd like to ask my question first before I
Before you move
before
it?
I move it.
Okay. I think I have to,
Bobadilla.
okay, Bobadilla, because I have to get it on the floor before I
Right.
get the question.
I'm sorry.
Moved by Freeholder Bobadilla so you can get the question. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Freeholder Johnson. Okay, now Freeholder Gill.
It's a question and I guess a comment, because I'm not sure there's anything that can be done, but this question was asked at the last meeting regarding whether these flags were made in the United States and whether they were made in the union shop, and it was noted in our response that these flags are produced in a non-union shop. American flags to honor our veterans, I personally believe should come through a union shop. And that's all I would like to say about that.
Freeholders, we on 24 for discussion. Let me ask, Ralph, I don't think we can do
Through you, Madam President,
that.
we do have in our bid specs the language that contains Buy American. However, under New Jersey Public Contract Law, this is a bid.
That's right. It's a bid, that's what I was saying.
And as far as I know, we cannot restrict non-union shops from bidding. It's the lowest price, lowest responsible. And we are certain that, the flags should be made in America. We are fortunate that these flags are made in Dover, New Jersey. But we are doing everything we can to not only get the best price for the dollar, but at the same token, we must abide by the New Jersey Public Contract Law.
Okay, additional questions on Resolution 24, 25, 26? Okay, freeholders, we're voting to take Resolution 24, 25, 26. Move. Yes. Okay, Bobadilla and Johnson moved in second. No further questions, comments, freeholders, roll call.
Freeholder Beasley, absent. Freeholder Bobadilla.
Yes.
Freeholder Clark.
Yes.
Freeholder Gill.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano, absent. Freeholder Owens, absent. Freeholder Vice President Siebel.
Yes.
Freeholder President Watson.
Yes.
So moved.
Okay, let's go to Resolution 28 through 32. And again, Madam Clerk, we read into the record at a later time. I think Freeholder Clark is going to move it, and Freeholder Seabold was second.
Yes.
Okay. Any further questions beyond resolution commendations? No further questions or comments? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Beasley, absent. Freeholder Bobadilla.
Yes.
Freeholder Clark.
Yes.
Freeholder Gill.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano, absent. Freeholder Owens, absent. Freeholder Vice President Siebel.
Yes.
Freeholder President Watson.
Yes.
So moved.
May I make a comment?
Yes, Freeholder Vice President
Many of the
Seabold.
resolutions that we just voted on were commendations which were presented tonight for Women's History Month, and I would like to acknowledge that Deborah Davis Ford and the entire staff did a wonderful job of providing tonight's entertainment and the awards and so forth, and it really was a magnificent event. So thank you very much for all the work that you did.
Very good. I think you stole Carol Clark, Freeholder Clark's thunder.
Oh, I didn't mean to do that.
I think Freeholder Vice President stole your thunder, Freeholder Clark. Okay, we'll vote, Madam Clerk, roll call.
Freeholder Beasley, absent. Freeholder Bobadilla.
Yes.
Freeholder Clark.
Yes.
Freeholder Gill.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano, absent. Freeholder Owens, absent. Freeholder Vice President Siebel.
Yes.
Freeholder President Watson.
Yes.
So moved.
Okay, you can read Resolution 33, and then we'll ask Freeholder Johnson to explain the resolution.
Yes, resolution number 33, resolution supporting S-278 one-year moratorium on replacement of copper-based landline telephone service with non-copper-based DL and line or wireless telephone services, sponsored by Freeholder Johnson.
Okay, Freeholder Johnson.
Yes, Madam President. This is a move that's being done by Verizon for most of our cities throughout the state. They're trying to go with the non-copper wiring, and from my understanding of it and from the information that was given to me, that this non-copper wiring it doesn't always work effectively, especially when you're talking about the electronic things that we need, like alert systems for our seniors, and when it comes to lighting and your DSL, your internet, and things of that nature. It's not foolproof yet. So the union from Verizon
has been calling me constantly in reference to saying, giving them the time to do more work on the DSL, on the wiring before they start installing it and bringing it in. And Mrs. Greenstein from the Senate in the state of New Jersey Assembly, she is the one who's sponsoring this bill. And I just feel that before they lay this on our people and before they lay it on us here in Essex County, I think they should do a more thorough job of making sure that it's working correctly.
Okay. Freeholders, you have any comments or questions for Freeholder Johnson in reference to this resolution? Freeholder Clark?
It's just ironic that this should come up because I had a chance to chat with some energy folks. And there's two sides to this. And you always want to be, you always want to be supportive of your colleagues. But just let me share this very quickly, and then I'll be quiet, because we must be mindful that it's March. No, I'm only teasing. Technology is changing, Freeholder Johnson. And the things that happened, or the way things happened in the past, aren't the way. Let me give you a for instance. We in Essex County are getting ready to deal with phone service via VoIP. That's voice over internet protocol. Totally different. Not the kind of wiring. Internet. Now you can put a modem and get the same kind of transmission into the home that you used to have to wire into the home for. I'm just saying, I don't know it all. I'm not a real techie, but I am learning more and more. I'm sitting in between two techies. I'm learning more about the clouds and all the other stuff out there, the good stuff that we're learning more about. So I almost want to abstain on this one, but I'm going to go ahead and vote to support you because you're my colleague, and one day I might want your support. But please know that technology is moving.
Yes, I understand.
And it's really important for those that are concerned about the lack of wiring homes now. They should sit down with the people who are saying, I have a better mousetrap so that I don't have to do that. I can put this here, this little box here, right there, and that person's going to get the same kind of transmission that they would have gotten had I drilled some holes in their house.
Okay, may I give you a couple of the other side of it also? Well, there's this device called a jammer that you can order on the internet or anything else. Don't you know with this copper that they're talking about installing now that they can get this jammer, and if your house alarm is on, they can come and hit this jammer and it will cut out all your stuff in there, and they can go in there and scot-free and break in your house. If your aunt or your cousin or your grandfather is home and his medical alert system that he uses is there, if they hit this jammer, it can cut out a whole block. And this thing can be ordered on the internet.
Okay. Okay.
I don't say let's not move into to the technology part of it. What they are saying, and what I suggest also, is that let's give it more time for them to do some more work on it to make it foolproof in some of these kind of things, especially when it comes to our homes and it comes to our parents and things of that nature.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna vote with you.
Okay, let's, we're voting on Resolution 33. No further, I have a mover by Freeholder Johnson. Do I have a second? Sponsored by Freeholder Johnson. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Freeholder Gill. No further questions, comments, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Beasley, absent. Freeholder Bobadilla.
President not voting.
Freeholder Clark.
Yes.
Freeholder Gill.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder President Siebel.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano, absent. Freeholder Owens, absent. Freeholder President Watson.
Yes.
So moved.
Okay, let's go to Resolution 34, 35, 37. Commendations, memoriam, in memoriam, two in memoriam sponsored by Freeholder Clark, and commendation sponsored by Freeholder Johnson. Do I have a move in second? Moved by Freeholder Clark, second by Freeholder Johnson.
Johnson, yes.
No further questions. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Beasley, absent. Freeholder Bobadilla.
Yes.
Freeholder Clark.
Yes.
Freeholder Gill.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano, absent. Freeholder Owens, absent. Freeholder Vice President
Yes.
Siebel. Freeholder President Watson.
Yes.
So moved.
Madam Clerk, do we have any added starter resolutions?
Madam President, we have none.
Okay, let's go to the report of boards, committees. None. Let's go to legislative reports. Written communication, unfinished business. New business. Do we have anyone else from the public who would like to speak?
Madam President, may I request 6 minutes since there's nobody else here?
No, my rule is 3 minutes, sir.
3 minutes it is. My name is Doug Cundy. This is my second cut at the apple. I'm from Millburn, New Jersey, and my stance is against the Common Core curriculum, which is the new educational system that's being employed basically nationwide. It's a federal government takeover, and I would strongly recommend that the freeholders take a look at exactly what this is doing to our education system and doing to my children, including my sixth grader. I'm going to read from the rest of the Bergen County Freeholder Resolution. Whereas New Jersey's current academic standards have not been compared to Common Core and/or other states to ensure our current standards are not diminished and represent the finest in the nation. Whereas leading international technological educational experts such as Dr. Yang Zhao criticize Common Core Park as an outdated paradigm, not internationally superior, where it represents teaching to the test versus teaching students to think, and where there is no international evidence that nationalized standards are better than, worse than statewide local standards. Whereas Common Core Park represents violations of the United States Constitution and 3 federal laws, not the least of which is the very establishment of the U.S. Department of Education. Whereas notable educational resources refuse to sign off on the validation committee for math, such as Dr. James Milgram of Stanford and NASA, the only professional mathematician on the Common Core Validation Committee, who stated at the end of 5th grade, material covered in arithmetic and algebra and core is more than a year behind early grade expectations in most high-achieving countries. At the end of 7th grade, core standards are roughly 2 years behind and only cover Algebra 1. Much, but not all of the expected contents of geometry and about half of the expectations in Algebra 2. Whereas another notable educational resource refused to sign off on the validation committee for English language arts, Dr. Sandra Stotsky, formerly of Harvard.
Excuse me.
The Reverend.
So give them 3
You know
more
what, I have to have a quorum, and Freeholder Clark have an emergency. She'll be back in about 2 seconds. Could you, we're going to reserve your time, so.
No problem.
Okay, just give us a few, out of recess. Sir, will you continue, please?
Thank you for your patience.
No, absolutely, my pleasure. Reading once again from the Bergen County Resolution, Freeholder Resolution. Whereas another notable educational resource refused to sign off on the Validation Committee for English Language Arts, Dr. Sandra Stotsky, formerly of Harvard, who wrote the revered A English standards for Massachusetts, and who stated Common Core would reduce those standards, and that literacy in ELA would be replaced by up to 50% by informational texts. Whereas Diane Ravitch, former Assistant Secretary of Education under both Presidents William J. Clinton and George Herbert Walker Bush, and a former proponent of voluntary nationalized standards, opposes Common Core Park on her active blog, as they are not voluntary, nor have they ever been field tested anywhere. We are experimenting with our children. Whereas 5 states never adopted Common Core Park: Virginia, Texas, Alaska, Nebraska, Minnesota. Indiana just stopped Common Core yesterday. It was announced that Indiana stopped Common Core. Oklahoma and Utah have downgraded participation or withdrew from national tests. And Michigan, Missouri, Ohio, and Pennsylvania have introduced anti-Common Core measures as they evaluated the program and found it unsustainable and not in the best interest of the academic education of students and taxpayers. Whereas other states, such as New York, that is at least a year ahead of New Jersey in its implementation of Common Core and just spent $233 million of RTT funding, has just realized a significant drop in test scores, a 64% drop in reading, a 75% drop in math in 1 year, resulting in a statewide outcry from parents, educators, and school administrators of putting the cart before the horse, a flawed product and process which puts needless shame upon students who were not properly prepared for the tests. Whereas there is diverse opposition to Common Core that includes, but is not limited to, educational groups nationwide and statewide, such as New Jersey Association of School Business Administrators, New Jersey Parent-Teacher Association, New Jersey Education Association, New Jersey Principal and Supervisors Association, and their national counterparts, New Jersey state legislatures of both parties, other freeholder boards such as Cape May and Cumberland counties, and parents, teachers, local boards of education, and taxpayers. Whereas we do not know the implementation, effect, nor expectations of Common Core Park upon special education students. Common Core is an attempt to nationalize education at the expense of the local school boards and me. I finance this education system through my property taxes, and I do not want the federal government determining how my child is taught or not taught. YouTube, Parents Against Common Core, Teachers Against Common Core. It's horrible for the teachers. It's horrible for the students. You can YouTube Students Against Common Core. There's plenty of information on the internet. I beg you to look at it.
Very good.
Madam President, you gave him an additional 2 minutes and 6 seconds.
Thank you.
Very good, and thank you for your comments, and we certainly will take the information and review it, and we'll get back to you.
I have all the information from all the freeholder boards, and I'm going to provide those to all of you.
That's what we would want. Thank you. Thank you again for your comments and bringing the information to the freeholder board. Freeholders, do we have any comments at this time? Do you have any comments? You go into freeholder comment session. Freeholder Clark. Freeholder Clark?
Madam President, I just want to say thank you to Clerk Deborah Davis Ford. And when I was mentioning the parents of people who should be proud of their daughters, and I certainly mentioned your mom, and I mentioned Freeholder Sebo's mom, I mentioned my mom, but I didn't mention Clerk Deborah Davis Ford's mom, Hester Davis, and her dad. Your mom should be proud of you, and Miss Marble sitting over there in the corner. I didn't mention your mom, but I didn't have the pleasure of meeting. Haven't had the pleasure of meeting your mom, or obviously never had the pleasure of meeting your mom or Freeholder Sebo's, but certainly have known Deborah Davis Ford's mom for a long time. And so I guess today is the day that we celebrate Women's History Month here in Essex County. And our administrator indicated that the county executive will be celebrating Women's History Month on Monday. And the pastor said something, Madam President, that is irrefutable. None of us would be here.
That's right.
But for a woman. And so they say the hand that rocks the cradle
can rule the world.
Rules the world. And indeed, that is true. And
I'm not getting any smiles from the gentleman.
Well, no, and I was just about to say their moms would be awfully proud. I know that Mrs. Chilella has got to be proud of her son. Mrs. Abramowitz has got to be proud of hers. Mrs. McInerney has to be proud of hers.
You can see she was proud last
Mrs.
week.
Gill, Mrs. Bobadilla, Mrs. Polavecchio, you know, Mrs. Kresick, who is still around, to be proud of her son, you know, Mrs. Johnson. I had an opportunity. She was pleased as punch when she was up here to see you get sworn in. And our young lady over here on the Nicole, I know your mom. I mean, unfortunately, you just lost your sidekick, your dad, but I know your mom is pleased as punch with you as well. And so, you know, Chris, you know, your mom, and certainly Mrs. Oquego, you know, Miss Pollard, I'm sorry, Calvin's mom, all the moms are proud of their children. So when we celebrate Women's History Month, we do a good thing. It wasn't always that it was celebrated, but you know what, Ms. Watson, I found out that it's not just celebrated here in the United States. If you go on the internet, you'll find that it's celebrated now all over the world, because people really do understand how very important it is. So I'm thrilled, and you're right, Mr. Chilella. Joe D did put he didn't just talk the talk, he did walk the walk. He put some women in some spots. And I can remember we've had the pleasure of being honored by the executive who recognized that. So I'm just happy that this is the way that we had an opportunity to go out.
Yes.
You know? There's nothing better than to be able to leave on your own terms, to leave with your reputation intact, and to leave while you still have something left to give and some service left in you. So that's the way we're going out, and that's a good thing. So I just want to thank everybody who was involved in the Women's History Month program.
And just let me make one comment. I have to again thank the staff. You guys did a fantastic job, as always, but today was a little special. We got everything done, it was done in a professional manner, and I want to thank the staff. You guys, all we could hear, the guests commending the staff and the freeholders for a job well done. And I have to say that I got a little choke up tonight because I sat there and I said, oh, this is going to be my last Women's History Month. And I got a little sad. I said, I thought I prepared myself to be ready to, as Carol said, to leave and leave with distinction and leave because I feel that I really gave my all to the residents of Essex County. But today I got a little choked up, so you guys probably didn't notice it, but I had to let you know that it's going to be, I have to make some adjustments, but I know I will. But every Women's History Month, I'm going to be sitting, I want a special seat in one of those seats up there, and I'll come back and visit. Okay? Very good. Okay, freeholders, yes, Freeholder Bobadilla.
And in the spirit and to embody our celebration today, I just want to wish my mom a happy birthday today.
Oh, how beautiful.
All right.
Quite fitting.
Yes, it is quite fitting. Very good. Okay.
And Madam President?
Yes.
Just so you know, to set the record straight historically, you will go down with the distinction of having been the longest serving female president of this board in the history of the county, and that's dating back to 1922.
Wow, I am honored. I'm really, really honored. Thanks for letting me know that, Carol. I appreciate that. Very good. And I want to thank my colleagues, because without you appointing me and re-electing me to serve you, I want you to know that I am really grateful for your support that you give me each and every day while I sit in this seat. So thank you. Carol.
Madam President, one last thing. Just to the gentleman about Common Core, you're right, you can go on the internet, and I've been known to do that when people are at the mic, so I did it while you were at the mic, just to check you out. And apparently, the state of Indiana has actually acted on what you're bringing to us, and they have, they're the first state to actually say that they don't want to deal with it. I would suggest that probably the way that the body that you would probably want to talk to is the State Board of Education. You've been
Very
there?
good.
Okay.
Very good. Freeholder Johnson?
Yes, maybe we can talk the county executive to putting a statue up there, you up there.
Uh-oh. All right.
You the first.
I'm the first. Okay. But you know, our county exec will put up statues, so maybe somebody can drop the hand. I would be honored. Okay, just let me briefly read off the freeholder questions, public comments, because we always respond to the public and the freeholders when they ask a question in all the meetings, and I report out at the next meeting. So Resolution 3, freeholder...
Tell them what meeting it was from.
Okay, the meeting of March 19th, I'm sorry. Okay, Freeholder Clark, Resolution 3, you received the memo, was sent to the administration, the response came back 3/25. The budget consultant, Frank McInerney, your comments was sent to the administration 3/21, and the response 3/25. Freeholder Clark did ask the administration requesting for March 19th agenda as well as year-to-date 2014, include the breakdown showing the total expenditures for E&E design. That went out on the 21st. The response came back on the 25th. President Watson asked that Sugar come before the board. They attended, they responded through the administration. Mr. McInerney asked the administration to provide a ballpark estimate of the ultimate cost of the project, including design and construction. That was on Resolution 10 and 11, freeholders. That was sent to the administration on the 21st. The response came back on the 25th. Freeholder Clark, Freeholder Johnson, and Freeholder Brenda Gill questioned the West Wassesson Park exclusion of the East Orange. We discussed that again tonight. The memo went out on the 21st, came back on the 25th. Mr. McInerney again asked for the ballpark estimation as the ultimate cost of the KIPS Council. We have a work session scheduled for April 1st, Mr. McInerney, and we will be giving that additional information to you then. Freeholders Gill and Rolanda Bobadilla asked for an accounting for the total cost. That will come back in the work session. We will discuss that in our work session on April 1st. Council Michael Polivecchio pointed out wording changes for the resolution that will be changed, but when we vote on that resolution April 2nd. Freeholder Luciana asked for explanation of what the county plans to do. Again, that question from Freeholder Luciana, Freeholder Bobadilla, Freeholder Clark, and President Watson. All of these questions will be discussed in our work session scheduled for April 1st at KIPS Castle. Freeholder Watson asked who the vendor was for the previous contract on Resolution 23. Information went to the administration on the 21st. We received the response on the 24th. Freeholder Luciana asked how much was spent of the previous contract for Resolution 23. The memo sent to the administration on the 21st. The response came back on the 22nd. And Freeholder Gerald Owens asked about flags were made in the United States. That memo was sent out on the 21st. The response came back on the 21st through the administration, and we did clear that up again because it came up in the meeting tonight. Freeholder Gill wanted to make sure that we responded to that question. Then we went to the public comment session. Ms. Tracy McLean of Essex County Renewal, Franklin Street, Bloomfield, asked the county to ask the city of Newton to provide him with space at vacant properties. The memo went out on the 21st. The response came back on the 24th, but it appeared that he was before the board before, and we did respond to him on March 18th. Lord Dardell on Watchung Avenue, Belleville, spoke about a nationwide symposium on income inequality that will be held in Newark, and offered to work with the county to determine if the county has any interest. And I am so pleased to know that the administration immediately met with Mr. Dardell, and the county will be involved with this symposium on, and it will be talking about income inequality. I definitely want to make sure that I'm a part of that, Mr. Sheila. I did meet with Mr. Donnell. I was very pleased that you guys responded to him the way you did, very positive, because this is a crucial issue in our, not only in Essex County, but throughout our country. So we're going to be dealing with information coming throughout from individuals throughout. It's a nationwide symposium. Really great information on where we are and how what's going on with the income inequality. And some of the problems that we're having right now in the city of Newark, I think, has a lot to do with this. So all the freeholders will be invited, and if you want to take any questions prior to that symposium, please just make sure you get in touch with Ralph. Okay? No further questions? No other comments? The chair will ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Motion carried.